The Soft Revolution, when survival becomes your strategy. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we create sacred space for high achieving Black women to unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And today I had the profound honor of sitting down with someone whose story will shake you, reshape you, and remind you that you are not a statistic. You are a strategist. You are a survivor. You are a riser. I interviewed Lezette Morgan, a mother, a warrior, a woman who has transformed unimaginable struggle into unshakable strength. Lizette has navigated systems designed to break her, faced betrayal that cut to the bone, survived domestic violence, and still, she chose to rise with dignity and purpose. She refused to be reduced to a case number. She refused to let hardship write her ending. Her work in the world is nothing short of revolutionary because she takes the pain that could have destroyed her and turns it into a roadmap for others. She teaches women how to speak the language of systems that were never built for them. She shows mothers how to protect their children while protecting their own peace. She demonstrates daily that survival is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of strategy. And today I'm sharing the insights from that conversation because they hold the keys to your own liberation. Let me be clear, this isn't a story about perfection. This is a story about perseverance. This is about the nights after the meetings when you're too exhausted to cry. This is about landlords hanging up the second they hear the word voucher. This is about choosing between your health and your duty, between your peace and your child's safety, between staying silent and standing tall. Lizette lived all of that. And she didn't just survive it, she studied it. She mastered it. She turned her trials into her training. And if you're sitting here right now thinking that your struggles disqualify you from greatness, I need you to hear this. They don't. They're actually the very thing that qualifies you. So here's what I want you to carry from this conversation. Here's what Lizette Morgan wants every Black woman, every Black man, every parent, every professional navigating systems not built for us to remember. You ready? First, perseverance over perfection. Lizette's story isn't about flawless wins. It's about refusing to let hardship define your end. It's about hearing your grandmother's voice in your head saying, stand tall, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when the world is telling you it's room to sit down and be quiet. The actionable step here is this: next time a system tries to silence you, document one interaction daily. Write it down, record it, save it, reclaim your narrative. Because when you document your truth, you take back your power. You stop being their case number and you become your own strategist. You stop letting them tell your story and you start writing it yourself. And that shift right there is where freedom begins. Second, trials is training. Every battle Lizette faced, every landlord rejection, every health trade off, every moment she had to choose between herself and survival taught her something. It taught her how to read policies. It taught her how to speak the system's language. It taught her how to advocate fiercely without raising her voice. For you listening right now, here's your challenge: turn your pain into strategy. Pick one policy in your field this week, whether it's housing, child welfare, business regulations, whatever system is boxing you in, and master it. Learn its language, understand its loopholes. Become fluent in the very thing that's trying to control you. Because when you know the rules better than the people enforcing them, you stop being a victim and you become a force. You stop reacting and you start leading. You stop surviving and you start strategizing. Third, rise with dignity. You're not a statistic. Lizette survived betrayal, domestic violence, and family dependencies not by being fearless, But by moving scared, tired, and underestimated, she moved anyway. She protected her child. She protected her peace. She protected her purpose. And here's the key reminder for you: affirm this daily, say it out loud. I am the strategist my ancestors raised. I am not broken by my fires. I am sharpened by them. I am rising with wisdom and warmth. Because the truth is, strength doesn't come from never falling. Strength comes from getting back up every single time and refusing to stay down. Now, let me ground this in history. Let me show you that Lizette's path, as unique and personal as it is part of a lineage, part of a legacy, part of a movement of Black women who have turned survival into strategy, who have risen from case numbers to change makers, who have refused to let systems define them. Let's talk about Ruby Duncan, a Black mother in Chicago's Cabrini Green housing projects during the 1960s and 70s. Ruby faced judgmental welfare offices denying aid, evictions, malnutrition, threatening her children. Sound familiar? She was a single mother of six, betrayed by absent partners, navigating violence prone projects after surviving domestic strife. But here's what Ruby did: she organized mothers to document abuses. She learned policy language. She protested publicly while raising her kids, and she secured federal food programs that fed thousands. She mobilized over 50 mothers into Operation Breadbasket, forcing commodity distributions that changed lives. Ruby sparked the national welfare rights movement, empowering Black women against dehumanizing systems. The lesson: systems respect documented persistence. Ruby didn't wait for permission, she became the permission. She looked at a system that told her she was nothing and said, "Watch me become everything." Then there's Fannie Lou Hamer, Mississippi sharecropper mother figure in the 1960s civil rights era. Fannie was evicted for activism, beaten in jail, faced welfare threats to her community children, dealt with exhaustion and isolation. She survived betrayal in abusive rural life, was sterilized without her consent, and yet she mentored youth. She spoke systems language at conventions. She documented her beatings. She advocated unyieldingly despite health scares. And she co founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. She testified at the 1964 Democratic National Convention, galvanizing national support with her steady, pain forged voice. Fannie paved the way for the Voting Rights Act, inspiring Black women to redefine themselves beyond statistics. The lesson: fearful steps build fearless legacies. You don't have to feel brave to move bravely. You just have to move. You just have to take one step and then another and then another. Even when your knees are shaking and your heart is pounding and your mind is screaming at you to turn back, you move anyway. And let's not forget Marian Wright Edelman, Noama, Black mother, founder of the Children's Defense Fund in 1973. Marion navigated 1960s and 70s child welfare crises in Mississippi and DC. She fought biased foster systems, housing discrimination, personal health strains, all while raising sons amid professional battles. She mastered legal and policy advocacy. She wrote precise emails and briefs. She built coalitions without raising her voice. And she blocked child welfare cuts that would have devastated millions. Marion lobbied Congress to save programs aiding countless families, turning chaos into policy clarity. She revolutionized child advocacy, empowering Black families against defining systems. The lesson: underestimation fuels quiet overthrows. When they underestimate you, you overthrow them with precision. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be strategic. You just need to know more than they think you know and move smarter than they think you can move. Ruby, Fannie, Marion, Lizette. These are not separate stories. These are echoes. These are threads in the same tapestry. These are women who learned to be soft in a world that taught them survival. They didn't become strong because they wanted to. They became strong because they had to. And every time they survived, something meant to break them. They learned more about who they were and what they were capable of. They learned that survival is not weakness. Survival is the first act of revolution. So here's what I need you to do this week: identify one system boxing you in: housing, work, family, welfare, child services, whatever it is. Learn its one key policy. Document your next interaction. Turn your trial into your training. Rise, start small, build unstoppable. Because the truth is, revolutions don't start with grand gestures. They start with one woman deciding she's had enough. One woman deciding she's going to learn the rules so she can break them. One woman deciding she's going to document her truth so no one can erase it. One woman deciding she's going to rise with dignity even when the world tells her to stay down. Because here's the truth Lezette Morgan wants you to know: you are not broken by your fires, you are sharpened by them. You are not defined by the systems that tried to reduce you. You are defined by the dignity with which you rose. You are not a case number, you are a strategist. You are a survivor. You are a riser. And if you're listening to this right now feeling exhausted, feeling like you've been in survival mode for too long, feeling like you've carried everyone and everything and you're ready to put the cape down, I want you to hear this. Softness is not weakness. Rest is not laziness. Boundaries are not selfishness. Choosing yourself is not betrayal. It is reverence. It is radical. It is revolutionary. Lizette Morgan's story reminds us that the strength we admire is forged in fire we often don't see. It's forged in those nights after the meetings when you're too tired to cry. It's forged in those moments when you choose between your health and your duty. It's forged in those decisions to protect your child, your peace, your purpose, even when the world tells you to stay small, stay quiet, stay in your place. But you didn't stay, you rose, and you're still rising. And here's what I want you to understand: the soft girl era is not about giving up, it's not about quitting, it's not about becoming weak or fragile or breakable. The soft girl era is about choosing yourself with the same fierceness you've used to choose everyone else. It's about protecting your peace with the same intensity you've used to protect your children. It's about guarding your energy with the same vigilance you've used to guard your home. It's about saying no without guilt, resting without explanation, and healing without apology. It's about recognizing that you have spent years, maybe decades, in survival mode, and survival mode was never meant to be a permanent state. It was meant to get you through. And now it's time to do more than survive. Now it's time to thrive. So here's my challenge to you: not next month, not next year, this week. I want you to pick one area of your life where you've been operating in survival mode, one area where you've been saying yes when you mean no, one area where you've been carrying a burden that was never yours to carry, one area where you've been shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And I want you to make one change, just one. Document one interaction with a system that's been silencing you. Learn one policy that's been controlling you. Set one boundary that's been overdue. Say one no that you've been too afraid to say. Take one step toward softness, toward rest, toward choosing yourself. Just one. Because revolutions don't require you to change everything all at once. Revolutions require you to change one thing and then another until the accumulation of those small changes becomes unstoppable. Until you look back and realize you're not the same person you were a year ago. Until you realize you've gone from surviving to strategizing. Until you realize you've gone from case number to change maker. Until you realize you've gone from broken to whole. And when you take that step, I want you to remember Ruby. I want you to remember Fanny. I want you to remember Marion. I want you to remember Lizette. I want you to remember every Black woman who came before you and refused to stay down. Every Black woman who turned her pain into power. Every Black woman who learned the system so she could dismantle it. Every Black woman who chose dignity over defeat. Every Black woman who rose, because that's your lineage, that's your legacy, that's your birthright. You are not here by accident. You are here because someone before you survived, someone before you strategized, someone before you rose. And now it's your turn. Now it's your time. Now it's your revolution. So take that step, document that truth, learn that policy, set that boundary, choose yourself, rise with dignity, and watch what happens when you stop surviving and start thriving. Watch what happens when you stop being their case number and start being your own strategist. Watch what happens when you stop letting the system define you and start defining yourself. This is your soft girl era. This is your sacred pause. This is your revolution. And it starts right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. With one choice, one step, one breath, one decision to choose yourself with the same fierceness you've used to choose everyone else. One decision to protect your peace with the same intensity you've used to protect your children. One decision to rise with dignity even when the world tells you to stay down. So go. Document your truth. Master that policy. Set that boundary. Choose yourself. Rise and remember, you are not broken by your fires. You are sharpened by them. You are the strategist your ancestors raised, and your revolution starts now.